Well, let's just talk about the film instead. I think let's just do that. The third and final of 2018's Marvel Cinematic Universe releases, Ant-Man and the Wasp, is, and this'll shock you, a sequel to 2015's Ant-Man.
I'm shocked.
See, I told you. I know these things. A film which saw thief Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, don Hank Pym's, Michael Douglas's, high-tech suit and become Ant-Man. Since his participation in the scuffle at the airport in Captain America Civil War, please, Marvel, you have all of the money, buy a dictionary. Lang has been under house arrest in San Francisco, hence his non-appearance in Avengers Infinity War. If you remember from the first film, at one point Scott found himself shrunk to a subatomic size and in the quantum realm, a region from which it was thought there could be no return, and where Hank Pym's wife and Hope's Evangeline Lilly's mother Janet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, was lost 30 years ago. Since then, Pym has been trying to build a quantum tunnel in order to go looking for her. Now, before you say that this seems impossible and or makes no sense, stop. Unlike
yes, much worse is coming.
Yes. Unlike many other films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ant-Man resolutely does not take itself seriously. Unless, that is, I somehow massively misinterpreted the giant ant taking a bubble bath thing. So, just go with the flow. Hank and Hope enlist Scott's begrudging help. He doesn't want to risk his parole and the ability to be with his daughter to rescue Janet, who put a radio into his brain in a dream or something. Look,
it's quantum entanglement. Yeah. It was clearly explained, and that's exactly how quantum entanglement works. I think.
Yes.
Citation needed.
Look, like I said, just go with it, okay? It's a lot easier. But this is somewhat complicated by evil businessman Sonny Birch, Walton Goggins, who wants to get his hands on Pym's nifty tech, and further complicated by the mysterious ghost, Hannah John Kamen, who wants to get her hand on Pym's nifty tech. Fisticuffs ensue. Like the first Ant-Man, the important thing to know is that Ant-Man and the Wasp is just a tremendous amount of fun. The main reason it is so successful is, of course, Paul Rudd, who is innately likeable and who can now be forgiven for the turd that was Mute, in which, really, he was woefully miscast.
Yes.
But returning support from Michael Pena, though if anything he's underused, and Michael Douglas, who's always had a decent dryly comic turn, helps as well. Walton Goggins more or less pulls off goofy evil.
It's like lawful evil, neutral evil, and goofy evil. That's how it works, right?
Yes, Dungeons & Dragons missed a trick there, really, didn't it? Goofy evil with terrible toupee as well. And perhaps the only failure in character is with Hannah John Kamen's ghost, a character who ought to be sympathetic and certainly deserves pity, but really does too good a job of being evil and unlikable. Fortunately though, and an improvement over the first film, this outing for the diminutive superhero doesn't feature a true villain and is all the better for it. It's more of a rescue mission than anything, and Birch and Ghost present obstacles rather than the main objective. Which is good since Marvel villains are pretty much all awful and boring. Put all of this together and you have a hugely entertaining, admittedly silly, or perhaps I should say it's welcome that it's silly, action film that neatly sidesteps the usual ennui that accompanies the inevitable massive CGI smashfest climax with the same fun, inventive use of changing size and scale that worked so well 3 years ago. Best comic book film of the year.
Yeah, very much a case of, do you remember Ant-Man? Do you want to see more of it? Well, this is just the film for you. It's even recycling the same jokes, like Michael Pena's narration of events, but it doesn't matter because it's a really good joke. And
Yes.
I've not seen it in a few years, so it still lands quite well. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think it does a great trick in, like I say, not having galaxy scale events. It's actually much easier to care about it when you're actually just talking about the lives of, well, two people, really, as it winds up being the balance between that. Far easier to get invested in that and who's going to survive. And it's not entirely clear that either one would survive. So it does a much better job of actually getting you invested in it, because it doesn't really do an awful lot of setup, but goes straight into some really great action scenes. I love the size altering gimmick that's going on throughout it is played really well. It's also really funny on a number of occasions, so I've absolutely no complaints about it at all. Actually, no, wait, I do have one complaint. I enjoyed like 99.5% of this film, but at no point in this film did I think, but how does this tie into the wider Marvel Cinematic Universe, TM, and in particular the events of the most ambitious crossover event in cinematic history, TM, the Avengers, TM, Infinity War, TM. So it was really annoying when you get that last post-credit scene, which just... It's a really annoying downer on a film that is in no way set up to support that kind of punch at the end of it, and it's just completely pointless. You've had this really wacky, really funny, high-action adventure. Just let it go. Don't try and tie everything together. Just have one nice film in isolation. Don't just kick people on the way out the door saying, oh, and by the way, everyone's dead. I mean, I'm sure they'll all come back, but it doesn't matter. It's just annoying that at the end of this film, which has been just really upbeat and entertaining all the way throughout, they need to stick a downer note on the end that's completely pointless, and it just reaffirms my notion that there is no single post-credit scene in the Marvel films that is worth staying for. Just leave as soon as the credits start rolling. It's absolutely pointless and very annoying. Probably disproportionately annoying because of the location of it. If it wasn't sort of right at the end of a film, just taking out of it is about an hour and a half. I was really quite upset by that when it came out. It was just such a bad decision. It's trying to produce some sort of coherence with other films that really has no point being there other than to... I don't know. I mean, if they decided that the cliffhanger at the end of Infinity War wasn't quite cliffhangery enough. It's like, oh, we know we've killed half the universe, but it needs to be half the universe plus these three guys. You know? Annoying. But other than that, yeah, loved it.
Yeah, that mid-credit scene, because there's a post-credit scene which is even more pointless.
Yes, that was even, yeah.
You have to sit through 50 minutes of credits to get to, oh, it's an ant, okay.
Yes.
I don't mind throwing it for you. I'm just going to save you the trouble. It's an ant playing drums.
Yes.
Just like all you need to know. Because it's got nothing to do with the rest of the story or anything at all.
Yeah.
I can understand why there's some explanation of what's going on, because they've brought that character into the rest of the events, and that character was in Captain America Civil War. I think they covered it well enough, though,
that was all it needed. It needed a little one-line throwaway thing saying, "Oh, you're under arrest, so you couldn't be doing all that stuff at the time." That was it. That was enough of a tie-in. That's all. It explained everything it needed to do. It didn't need anything else. But no, had to do it, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Because in Infinity War, you have Bruce Banner saying there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man now, and like just referencing that character, and it's like then he's not there for whatever reason. And then in this film, you don't even need to explain it. You just work out, well, yeah, okay, he's got an ankle bracelet, he can't leave his house. That's why he's not there. Okay, but it's that mid-credit scene, the tone is so different.
Exactly.
That's kind of what bothers me. It's more than it's not so much the need to tie it into the cinematic universe, and they really didn't need to, but it's the fact the tone is so different from the film.
Yeah.
Which has basically a man walking around with a Hot Wheels, and I say basically is actually walking around with a Hot Wheels case full of toy cars that are actually real cars. Yeah. And then they have that scene at the end. It doesn't fit. And again, a giant ant taking a bubble bath. It doesn't match with that mid-credit scene, and it's really annoying for that. But you can also just leave the cinema or stop watching the film after the end of the film, not see that, and you'll be fine. So,
yes.
Because the rest of it is so fun.
Yes, definitely my recommendation.
Yeah. There are like some other references to what else has happened, but they're used for humour and it works really well. Like when Hope is making fun of Scott, like, oh, is that what Cap says? Is that what the Cap would do? Because he's just like basically casually name dropped Captain America and called him Cap. Because remember, in this universe, Captain America's a celebrity, really. Yeah. And so they have some fun with that. But that fits with the tone of the film so well. Mm-hmm. Whereas, the rest of it, not so much. Yeah. So, well, it's not the rest of it, just that one bit, really. It just seemed unnecessary.
Yes, literally my only complaint about it. Everyone else I thought worked very well. But
yeah, when you'd worked out by that point, well, I know this is happening at the same time, and I know why he could be there, okay? And I guess he's going to be in the next film, but okay, it didn't really need to be set up. Yeah. I don't know, a pity, but the most minor of marks against a thoroughly entertaining film.
Yes.
I think if I had any other complaints, it may be that I think perhaps Evangeline Lilly is a little underserved on the humour side of things. I mean, she gets some, but she gets to be more like the straight person than the straight role rather than the comic role, I guess, in a few
Yeah.
setups. I guess in the same way that in Thor Ragnarok, the male characters are the sort of goofy butts of the joke, and the women are the more competent ones. I guess Ant-Man and the
Yeah.
Wasp has that going for it as well. But it's been nice to have given her maybe a few more comic moments, but and that's a minor niggle. So yeah, it's thoroughly entertaining, and it's easy to get sort of wearied by what seems to be so many comic book films, and really there's not, because 3 in a year. The problem is perhaps that they dominate the box office so much to the exclusion of other things. They take up so many screens and so much time. That's maybe why they become so other things don't get the releases they might. But it's nothing compared to the times 50 years ago, maybe 60 years ago or longer, when there were literally more than 100 westerns made a year. You know, compared to 3 comic book films, 3 or at least 3 Marvel ones, maybe another couple from DC or something, or Fox. It doesn't seem that bad in the end.
Yeah.
But yes, thoroughly recommend you. I had an absolute blast with this film.